but we will edit this portion out when we do the final version.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and get started then. It's 12:02. So welcome back from summer break, everyone. This is our September Lunch and Learn, and it's so great to see so many of you guys joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maya Lampinen, and I am the Procurement and Contracts Manager here at the Port of Everett. I serve on the Lunch and Learn Committee, and I'm also serving this year as the president of the Washington chapter of NIGP. So as we get started, we have a few housekeeping reminders for everybody. So if you would mute yourself during the presentation so you can enjoy it, unless you're participating, obviously, or when you're ready. But if you want to participate, please go ahead and raise your hand or enter it into the chat box. So we'll call on you. We do have a few folks monitoring our chat. And for those of you who don't, who share your Zoom with other folks, or maybe go incognito, we'd love it if you would change your participant name to your full name. That's the only way we can give you credit for joining, and do that in our chapter manager for the hour that you've joined. So if you could do that, you can right click on your video and choose rename. And there's so many fun facts going on in the chat that I'm going to have to read those after the fact. I love it. With that said, we are so excited to have you all here with us today. We are inspired by all Forum does for us, and we really want to share that with you. So if you want to go to the next slide, Victor, each time that a Washington member attends a Lunch and Learn, you're going to be added to a list for a drawing to win $1,000 towards next year's Forum registration. So that means if you attend 2 of the Lunch and Learns between now and the drawing, you'll receive 2 chances to attend. If you attend 4 of them, you get double the chances. So we'll hope to see you back here in October. And so in order to do that, we would love for you to drop your name and just type the word raffle in your name next to it. And so that we know that you want to be entered into the raffle. In order to be eligible, you do need to be both a Washington and a national member. So make sure that you meet those eligibility requirements. Does anybody have any questions on that before we move on? It is an exciting opportunity, Sam. We love it. We love Forum, as you can tell. So we will be working through that. So before we get started, let's flash back to Boston. It was a fantastic forum and a milestone for NIGP. It's one of the largest forums in their history. So we put together, or Victor put together, a video for a glimpse of what it's like to attend Forum in person. So take it away, Victor.
It's like 32 of the totes.
Okay.
3 of the others, and then I have 2 additional boxes.
Okay.
Okay.
Just email me. Let me know.
There we go. Took care of that. All better now.
Thank you.
You bet. So with that, I want to go back to Forum. Can we just do that all over again? Such great memories. And Stacy and I are going to take a few moments here to give the perspective of what it was like in person to attend, and some things that we liked. And feel free in the chat box to put the highlights of what did you like about Forum for you in person. But before we do that, let's find out who actually attended in person. So I have 3 questions. We're going to do 2 of them right now. And For some reason, it looks like they already got launched. Let me relaunch these. There we go. Okay. Quick question in regards to your attendance. We're looking for your level of experience with Forum. If this was your first time, check it. You never been to Forum, or you're a rock star and you've been to multiple ones. And this also includes the virtual forums too. They count in this poll. So go ahead and put it in there. How many forums have you attended personally? We're
So
getting,
Victor, there is one that says choice 5, which I believe probably means 10 plus. Is that what that?
yes, yes,
Okay.
you are correct. Thank you. And there's some reasons if your Zoom control for any particular reason has it turned off, or there's a filter sometimes where it comes in that you're not going to be able to see the poll, or it could be on a separate screen behind what's shared. So if you can't see it, it's there somewhere. But, and oh, I should vote too. There we go. So we'll just give you a couple more seconds and weigh in. We're seeing a lot of, wow, this is very interesting. And you should see also the second poll, and we'll address these individually, but the second poll is a multiple choice in regards to attending the forum. Did you attend in person? Was it virtually? No, if you didn't attend, and then some particular reasons why you didn't. And then also if you are already approved to attend forum in Kentucky for 2023. And if you just scroll down either with your mouse or with your finger, you can see the other issues or the other questions. And the third question is in regard to getting some help in having leadership, supervisors, elected officials approve. What are some of the areas that have been preventing you from attending forum? So there's 3 questions. Go ahead and reply to each one. And when you're done, go ahead and submit, hit the submit button, which will light up after you answer all 3 questions. And I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I'm answering the questions here too. Okay. And then once you answer all 3 questions, like I mentioned, that submit button will light up and we'll be able to see the results here. So just a couple more seconds and going to.
It looks like one person's having technical difficulties. They only had the second poll for some reason.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything we can do about that.
No, if you scroll down for some particular reason, you're not seeing it. Sorry about that. But I'm going to go ahead and end the poll right now and share the results. And again, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see each one of the results. 7% attending today have never attended. So I'm hoping you're going to be paying lots of attention and taking notes in regards to how you can attend next time. 36% are first timers.
Awesome.
2 to 5, 21%, 6 to 9 times 25%, and 11% have attended 10 or more. If that's you, the 10 or more, we would love some words of how do you keep going each year as we get to that point when we talk about advice and getting approval. And 32% in attendance today were there in person, 50% attended virtually, 18% were hard at work and didn't attend at all. And 4% so far have approval to attend in Kentucky next year. That's good. That's pre-planning in advance. And then the third item, and we'll share these again when we get to this point, some interesting reasons as to why you haven't been able to attend so far. The highest being budget issues or the fact that you're in a rotation. So we'll do that and we'll do this. And then Stacy, if you'd like to talk first, I'm going to share in regards to my takeaways in my role as an instructor attending, but if you want to share what were your takeaways of your being in attendance as attendee, and how many times have you been to Forum? Let's start off with that question.
Well, I appreciate the intro, and I wanted to invite Maya to go first because she's on the agenda to talk about benefits, unless you want to do that after we're done.
I'm flexible.
We jumped ahead.
I'm flexible.
Maya, you want to go first, and then I'll go?
Sure.
Thanks.
I was just
Sorry,
gonna,
Victor.
yeah, I was just gonna say that there's a lot of benefits. I'm gonna hit 4 main categories of benefits, and I'd love for other folks to be able to jump in with what their takeaways are. So I was going to start off here with the Product Expo, being able to go to the Product Expo. I don't know, there's like 300 different vendors, suppliers there, and it really allows you to connect with those suppliers, see the latest products, leverage your cooperative spend, and then of course there's the swag, right? Everybody loves the swag. But I usually come back with new connections, new products that I want to bring back to some of my folks. And I mean, last year I met somebody on Gov Deals, and I had been using a different platform for online surplus auctioning, and it just wasn't working, but I was able to chat with them, and they met every single thing I needed. And within a week, I was already signed up with Gov Deals from coming from the expo. That was the leadership summit, actually in Anaheim, but same idea. So the Product Expo really keeps you current with those trends. On the educational session, it's keeping up on those procurement trends. You're learning from the best of the best, and you're picking up technical skills, you're picking up soft skills and insights. And I got to say, I come away with ready to implement programs pretty much every year. Sometimes it's just based off of the PowerPoint and the slides, and I come back and within an hour, I have demystifying debriefings from Kevin Yin, and I was able to put that together and share it with my project managers because I make them debrief with me, and it gave them a good platform to move forward with. And then the plenary sessions, those are so inspiring. They bring a level of fun to the event, and it also provides a time for reflection and a challenge to grow and think and learn a little bit differently. And so those just really complement and bring everything together. But I think for me, it's the people. That is one of the biggest benefits of all, is the networking opportunities. You get to talk with people from all over the nation. They get you. They understand what you're doing. They understand the challenges that you face as procurement professionals, especially with the last few years that we've gone through. But then you get to know them from a personal level. You're forming relationships. You're making connections during education sessions, the meals, the social events. I mean, we tried to show the education sessions in the video, but you're so intent on what you're doing, you're forgetting to take pictures of the fact that you got 22 credits or 22 classes that you're taking, or you're doing the networking. But, and then you're meeting folks through other folks, right? And that building that network, it just helps so that they help me do my job and I can help them do their job. So I guess my long and short is it's the encouragement, it's the takeaways, it's those social, the educational takeaways and the personal connections. It's an investment in who I am, in myself. I would not be where I am today without having the benefit. And I'm one of the 10 plus people that have been to 10 forums and more. That's because I'm a single shingle here. So budget is just mine. And, but it does, I think it makes you a more valuable employee, and it brings job satisfaction and it furthers your career. So I will let you go next, Stacy.
Hey. Well, you had so many good things to say. You kind of stole some of my items, so I'll try not to be too repetitive. My favorite part is, sorry, my favorite part is the just being there in person. I've been to 3 in person and 2 virtual, and although having the privilege of having virtual available to us. Especially, at agencies like me where we have to take turns and we can't go in person every year. So having both options, I mean, we're very lucky to have that. And I know there's still some things to work out with that. But again, in person is so much better. It energizes me being there, connecting, having people that understand you, your job, how the challenges of some of our customers who just don't get it. Visiting with the person you're going in the elevator up in the hotel because you're both wearing badges, or I don't want to scare those of you that are introverts though, because forum can be good for both. You don't have to do virtual if you're introverted. You can partake in, you know, the social events or not. You can, you know, raise your hand and ask questions or not. It's something that works for both of you. I'm kind of in between. I can go both, but when you pal around with people like Ginny or Maya that are extroverted, it's easy on me just to listen and still kind of get the benefit of being surrounded by extroverts. So don't be afraid if you are introverted. That's my comment. The classes were great. I really, since I've been in the industry for a long time, I think I've got 23 years now in public, so I've been around, but you still don't know everything. Every time you go to these, you're learning new information, new tips, new ideas, thinking outside the box. So if you've been in the industry a long time, forum is still for you. Or you can be an instructor if you know so much. One of my regrets is I still got stuck doing a lot of work. You will benefit more from forum if you can get away from your work cell phone and work laptop and really engage. So that's my advice to you. And I really like the leadership classes this year. So, Victor, passing it on to you.
Thank you very much. And I say when we went to virtual with COVID that anything that you can do in the classroom, you can replicate online. You can't hug online. Let's just put it that way. And the term that I heard more and more during the sessions was NIGP as a family. And it was great. The in-person lessons, you know, we were restricted to an hour or 90 minutes and it went by so fast, which tells you the level of interest and discussion was high. And I'm interested when we get to the virtual, how that takeaway was. But one quick thing that I want to share with is when we were in an open session talking about RFPs, one lady raised her hand and said she's a one-person show and she can't get anyone to bid on this particular service. And she started to get emotional about it because she felt like she was failing. And rather than the instructor providing the answer, I said, this is what forum is about. How many people have done a solicitation for this service? And 4 people raised their hands. They gave her their business cards and she just brightened up. So there are just some things that those in-person sessions can't be duplicated. They can be replicated, but they can't be duplicated. So that was our takeaways from our perspectives, but we think it's very important to also share the perspective of somebody that's been there for the first time. And because sometimes we go often quite a bit, but sometimes it's important to hear from the perspective of someone that's been there for the first time, just for those things that we don't notice anymore. And rather than me introduce you, let me introduce you to this video that will introduce her to everyone.
Hi, I'm Anna Vogel from the City of Vancouver. Center to go to ever been to NIGP Forum. I'll help you with that. At the forum.
Estrada.
How was your home? Ours almost ran over.
So with that, Stacy, you can ask your questions of an individual that appeared that she was very busy and had a good time.
like to introduce Anna Vogel, but I want to tell you that she was our in-person scholarship winner, and for winning that, she agreed to be a trooper and be part of writing a little newsletter info and answer some questions for us today. So the first question, Anna, and did we say you were from the city of Vancouver as the procurement manager? I don't know if we did, but let me say that now. What were your expectations of Forum, and how did your experience compare to your expectations?
So I knew Forum would be great networking and training event. I was able to attend Leadership Summit last year. But other than that, I didn't really have any expectations, but my expectations were definitely met and exceeded. Forum isn't just great for networking and learning, it's also great for the people and being able to hear real-time lessons learned. That interaction that Victor talked about is something you don't get in the virtual world, and that was just as valuable as the educational sessions and the networking.
And if you could make one recommendation to people considering attending Forum in the future, what would it be?
Just do it. Go. It's a great opportunity to network, to learn and make connections. It's worth the time away from the office. I had to be connected to the office, unfortunately, but I was still able to gain so much from my experience. And you come back full of ideas, things I'm planning to implement with my team in the coming months, and you're recharged about procurement.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Anna.
You're welcome.
Well, as we talked about, what Anna was just talking about, things that you can only experience in person, it's very interesting now to find out the perspective of those who were not in person, but were there virtually. Rena Jackson from King County, this session is yours.
Okay, thank you, Victor. And yes, we got to roll out of bed and go to the forum at 5 a.m. That was one thing that was super thrilling for everybody. But we met on Wednesday afternoon after the forum had, closed out for this year. And one of the things that I think is really awesome is we had 55 people from Washington State NIGP able to attend forum this year because it was virtual. That's huge because there were a lot of great inputs as far as some of the sessions, were pre-recorded, and the sessions that were live. People really benefited from being able to go and to attend those. Even though you weren't there in person, you still got to hear the valuable information provided. Some of those classes that were highlighted by this group of people were the RFP class was fantastic. They learned a lot. They learned about, things including even, the hiding of pricing and what that was like for an agency. The legal session, there was a ton of really helpful information in that session as well. The other thing that was interesting for some was the hiring and maintaining of procurement talent. And being able to do that, in a virtual space was really helpful because there was several sessions on similar subjects on that were really helpful for a lot of people to understand. One of the key ones I remember people talking about very specifically was, we're all waiting for the norm, right, to come back. And once again, the reminder is this is it. We are in the norm today. And a lot of people thought, that was a really good session. And also surveys, do's and don'ts, being able to go through this journey virtually, you still gain a ton from amazing professionals across the country. And the nice thing about the virtual forum is, it's 3 days of concentrated training, but it's also hearing from various perspectives across the country. And there was a lot of great information. I think the other thing is for new buyers, it's really helpful to kind of be able to go into some of these sessions when you're in a smaller agency, and really hearing from various people was really something people really enjoyed. Some of the attendees, have attended before virtually, so it was a little bit easier this year is what one of the feedbacks was as well. So NIGP National has improved and tweaked, as we continue to move into more virtual trainings, and people felt like it was very well organized and executed, other than a few comments that, we passed along as well. I think it was also, people really enjoyed because you could use your phone versus your computer. And at times for some people, that was very helpful to be able to do that. They liked the pre-recorded, earlier in the day sessions, so then they could look at them later. Another one that was really big that people enjoyed was TED Talks. They thought that was super fun and very engaging. And the other thing is the mix of the recordings. So some pre-recorded, some live. That mixture people really liked. And overall, they felt like it was a great job. So great input, lots of good things I shared with Victor, of all the amazing things that people also provided for input. So that is what I have, but also want to make sure we look over, what people are putting in the chat or others that attended virtually. But
Yes.
It was a good time to kind of get back together.
Thanks, Serena. And that would be great if anybody attended virtually and has any comments for those that were there of things that you liked or can be improved. I know, and this drives me crazy, when you're in a session and the person in the back room gets up to ask a question and they say, wait for the microphone. They said, no, I have a loud voice. They can hear me. If you're virtually there, no one can hear you. And that just goes back to the instructors being very vigilant about saying, no, wait for the microphone. In the classes that I was in, the runners were great. And even in those cases, it's good when the instructors who have a microphone repeat the question so that even those in the room may not have heard it, those virtually attending would be able to hear it. The other thing is the plenary room, the first day was freezing. But we were told bring layers, but it was a little scary when you saw the meat hanging on the wall. No, I'm joking. It wasn't that cold, but that was my only concern, was everyone virtually attending being able to hear and see everything possible. Any question from virtual attenders of things that maybe we can improve next time around?
I think the one thing, Victor, that I thought was very interesting was, they give out scholarships or, for at the end. They felt like the virtual people need it as much, if not more, than the people attending. And I thought that was very, very interesting comment, because, you kind of agree with that, right? Is I'd go too if I had the opportunity. So that was one thing I had in notes.
And Carrie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe everybody's name was entered for those, not just those in attendance. Everyone who had registered were signed up to be potential winners.
That's actually not 100% accurate.
And
see, one of these lessons learned when you're planning two vastly different experiences, that's all going on at the same time. So this is a lesson learned for us, and I rectified it that day. But I did see the chat and it was blowing up. Like, wait a minute, what about us? We're not there, but we should be able to get something. So within about 15 minutes time, I had downloaded the virtual attendee list. I found a free online random name drawing thing, and I picked 4 winners. And we did that on the fly because we sort of realized that was a mistake on our part, that the virtual attendees they're not second-class citizens. Everybody's equal, right? So we just did a different type of drawing. But these are all things that we learn as we go, and to Rena's point, improve every year. So.
And that's what we heard loud and clear from the virtual attendees, Carrie, just so you know, is it has gotten better and better. And, a lot of great comments on that.
And the day we get to a perfect forum is the day that we stop meeting them. But this one wasn't, to me, perfect, but it was the best one I have attended. I'm just going to leave it at that. And that's to Carrie and your team that works so hard, from registration to pre-registration, on-site registration, layout. I don't know how many steps I got in, but man, did not need to exercise at Forum this year, where it was just an automatic. Any other questions or comments in regards to virtual attending? And I'm checking the chat. I'm not seeing any questions, just comments. If not, Maya, if you want to move forward and we can talk about, for those that attended either virtually or didn't get to attend, what's some advice that we can give them to improve their, not their chances, but their success in attending next year?
Sure, I can definitely do that. And then I think we had some key takeaways from some of our first timers as well. So, but initially, I know, but we saw that budget is a challenge. I know it's for me this year and maybe next year as well. But one of the things that I try to do when I talk with my staff about, or my supervisor about value, I mean, I budget about $3,000 to $3,500 to attend forum is kind of what I budget. And if you divide that by the cost per credit, you end up like at $150 per credit to go in person. If you can go virtually, it's about $15 to $20 a credit, depending on the year. It might be even if it's $50 a credit. That's pretty reasonable. And if we can get that, especially if you're trying to maintain a certification, that's for them is a fairly good investment. And I got to tell you, it's the networking and some of that too. If you can talk about that value of the networking, if you can save yourself, 30 hours a year in work because of the information and the inspiration that you received at Forum, you've paid for your attendance. And I got to tell you, there's sometimes I can save 8 hours in just one conversation with somebody because they share me their document. I look at it, tweak it for my particular entity, and I have something in place that I can move forward with. And I don't have to do all that research and create and reinvent the wheel. So there's that cost piece. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on cost, on ways to help with the budget, because that is a challenge. Even sometimes them just understanding that this is an investment, not only your career, but it saves them money, the soft money, the stuff that they can't account for in audits that you avoid, or where you're avoiding issues in audits. There's so many other extraneous benefits that are really hard to pinpoint. Anybody else have thoughts?
For those
And
oh, go ahead, Maya, sorry.
I was just gonna say, NIGP does have a Why Attend Forum 2022 that we posted on our Lunch and Learn documents. So there's 4 really great options there, talking about the return on investment, showing how the attendance can help everybody in your team. So doing white papers, I know that a lot of people who go have to do white papers and talk to their staff when they return on their key takeaways. And then planning for that, not having to work, like Stacy said, as much as possible during your during forum, and then showing the value of increasing your network with the public procurement peers and staff alike. So we posted that for those of you guys to read through a little bit longer, and I'll show you where that is at the end of the session today.
And plus that return on investment, I've already implemented 3 ideas that I got from Forum. And remember, the thing with procurement is if you're stealing from me an idea, you're stealing from somebody else. There are rarely any original ideas. There's just tweaks on great ideas to make them greater and make them your own. So the thing about Forum is attending is you're not coming back and you're not Gollum with your ring like, this is my new idea. No, you come back and you share with your office, your entity, in regards to some new techniques, some ideas, some sourcing items, how to do that contract with price adjustments. You have to share that with your office. And that way, those that make the decisions can go, wow, you learned that. What happens if we send 2 people next year? So keep that in eye. The other thing that came up while you're talking about saving costs, Maya and Stacy, compare your airfare tickets when you bought them and how much they were.
Yeah, so I registered for Forum in April, and my airfare ticket from Seattle to Boston was $500. Stacy said she registered in late May, early June, and it was $1,000.
Yep.
So register early, register often.
And Carrie, when would we see the registration for next year's come available? I'm just asking in regards to budgeting, how much time do people have to get that okay so they're ready when the website comes open?
So we typically open registration in mid-January after the holidays. We are currently working on the budget for next year. Yes, we've only been back for 2 weeks. We're already thinking about Louisville. And so if you are trying to budget, the hotel rates in Louisville will range somewhere between $205 and $219 plus tax, depending on which hotel. And I usually tell people to anticipate an increase of $25 to $50, maybe $75 over this year. I have no idea what it will look like, but that's usually a good starting point if you're trying to start the process of getting approval now.
And
And
Tara, oh, sorry, we have a hand up too here, Victor. when you
oh,
have a-
go ahead.
And
I had to unmute myself, sorry. I was gonna say one of the other things that I think contributes to the soft costs is staff retention. And that's something that I've been successful in sharing with our upper management. So we've had, over the course of 5 years, we had almost 100% turnover in this office. And so one of the big pushes that I'm doing is saying employees that feel appreciated, employees that feel energized from attending these events are more likely to stay, because unfortunately, when they don't feel appreciated, they come, they get the experience to go somewhere else and make more money. And so at about the time that you have somebody trained well enough to efficiently do their job, you're bringing in a brand new person again because they've left. So I think that's another area to really share the benefit of talking with people that actually know what we do all day long and can help us look at things a little bit differently, but also just the energy. I tell everyone the first time they attend, like, if you miss anything, do not miss plenaries, because they just give you so much motivation and so much encouragement to come back to the office, feel energized. And then I feel bad admitting this in front of NIGP people. One of the things that we do in our office, because you have that virtual option, is we'll block like an hour of time with all staff. And when we're kind of going through our, train the staff that stayed home, we'll actually share some of the really good sessions with them and say, I'm going to log in and you can watch it over my shoulder. We will share our computer screen so that you can see what we got to see, and then we can talk about it as a group. We know that they don't get credit for that, but it's one way for everyone in the team to benefit from our attendance.
And don't forget those speakers, the videos are still online right now. And if you want to convince those that haven't gone or those that make the decision about you going next year, show them one of the first two plenary speakers, a class or something like that. And the energy and the information is so intoxicating, that should be enough to convince them. But as Carrie said, registration opens up in January. So if you're in a calendar fiscal year, that's when your funding becomes available. And you need to weigh out the whole year saying, we're going to commit this much in August. That leaves this much over the rest of the year. What's the benefit of that? And that's where that justification letter comes in. That's where planning about reserving your hotel as soon as it opens, or your airfare. I stayed next to the hotel that was connected to it, and in Nashville, I was off-site and I had to walk every day in the rain through mud puddles. I so much preferred being on-site, but the other two venues were very close. And then Maya, yours was what, 10 miles away? Did you say you walked?
10 miles, yeah,
Yeah.
the whole 10 miles, no, 10 minutes. It wasn't a bad walk. It was a nice way to kind of get yourself ready for the day. And
Yeah.
It was the cheaper of the hotels, if I remember right. And since the association was paying for me, I wanted to save them as much money as possible.
Okay. And when I talked about the website in regards to going back and watching the videos, that's also where you're going to go and fill out the survey for the sessions that you attended. That is invaluable. Not only will NIGP benefit from the sessions that they provide and the topics, but the instructors like myself will get those reports, and it will certainly help us improve, expand on a topic. Please don't say it was a great, loved it, it was terrible. Give us specific examples about what you liked about the session. I'm going to be perfectly honest. There were a couple where I would have preferred the slideshow because the presenter reading the slides was a waste of my time. But again, you've got to fill out the survey. You also got the overall conference survey that NIGP emailed the link to you. If you have not done that yet, please do while those thoughts are still fresh in your mind. any other? Oh, and the funny thing is, I did a search on Forum 21 and 20, the virtual ones. I still can see the videos from there. And I know, shouldn't I say that, Carrie? Top secret, right? No, I should.
No.
Okay. Okay. It's great. And it was so fun to go back and see some sessions that I attended and some that I didn't attend that I thought, oh, I would love to see them again. It's a great resource. And if you have someone over your shoulder watching, learning and enjoying that experience too, that would be a great thing to do. So at this time, oh, go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for those of you who are planning on attending next year, and I know we need to go back and get some of the first timers for the virtual comments as well. But I will say that when you first go, the first time I went, I was a volunteer, I was on the QCT, and I see Karen's on here as well. But that is an incredible way to break the ice and start to meet people, especially if it's a little bit more difficult for you to meet people because you're standing there, you're checking badges as people go into the room, but it gives you that natural icebreaker to just be able to say hi to people and your face starts to get recognizable, your name as well. And so volunteering, and I know they're always looking for volunteers, but that's an incredible way to give back. And then also to be able to network and meet new people. I have met so many people through volunteering that have become friends. So Karen, I don't know if you want to say anything either at this point, but I know you send an email request out for everybody to volunteer. I don't know if you're still on either. Saw you earlier.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Maya. Yeah, so what I did this year was I sent an email out to everyone who was registered. If you're registered by about mid-July, you will get an email from me asking you to enroll in the process. And literally without the volunteers, we could not pull it off at all. We had about 150 active volunteers this year, and we needed every last one of them. So know that, like Maya said, it's a great way to meet people, interact with people. You're there for a purpose, and it's easy because your purpose is defined. So you don't have to try to think of something to talk about with somebody. You're there for that reason. And again, appreciate everybody who volunteered. I know that there are several of you that did volunteer, and I really appreciate that. And look for my email coming mid-July, and be one of the first ones to click that enroll button. Some of you who have volunteered will get a different email that says just update your information. And so thank you again. And thanks, Maya, for pointing that out. We can always use a little bit of press.
So before we open it up for questions from the audience, Carrie or Karen, did you have any questions that you would like some information from the group in regards to the forum this year?
I'd actually be interested in hearing more from first timers for the virtual piece. Even if you attended virtually the last 2 years, this was a different experience, right? So the last 2 years, everybody was virtual. We all looked at our faces like we're looking on a screen now in some of the live sessions. Everything was virtual, but this year we had 2 distinct experiences. And we worked really, really hard to make sure that both audiences felt welcome, felt comfortable, felt included in what was going on each day. And we did learn some lessons, to Victor's point about questions in the room. The virtual audience couldn't hear the questions because me didn't think about, oh, we should have a microphone and a runner in the room. So every year, to Rena's point, we do try to improve and make sure that those experiences are better. And I also saw somebody made a comment about handouts. That was a big point of contention this year about the number of presentations that didn't have their slides uploaded to the platform. All I will say about that is it's voluntary on behalf of the presenter. They are not required to give us that information, but we do share with them and shared with them several times over the process that folks really do want that during and probably even more so afterwards, right? Because if you're going and you're listening to what's going on that was pre-recorded or recorded on site without that ability to follow along, that made learning difficult for some folks. So just know that we are trying to improve those processes, but I'd be interested in hearing any more feedback on the virtual piece if anybody's inclined to talk about that.
Victor, all of our folks ready to speak on that are all on the line now, if you want me to start that.
Please do.
Okay. Well, first I want to introduce Samantha from Link Transit. She's the contract procurement specialist, and she's our first timer. I met Sam at Region 8, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. I've got 2 questions for you, Sam. As a forum first timer, and she did virtual, what were your expectations, and how did your experience compare to your expectations?
So my expectations before I saw the schedule and how many options there were, I kind of thought there wasn't going to be, it was just like cut and dry, a little less choice. So I liked that there were some options for different things to attend. I also really liked that there were pre-recorded and then that mix of the live sessions as well. So the first day I got into my office at 5 a.m. and attended virtually at my desk. And then the second day I attended virtually at home, which was really nice. I just went back and watched the pre-recording of the first one at the end of my day. And I highly suggest that if you're still on the West Coast time. What was the second half of that question, Stacey?
And how did your experience compare to your expectations?
I think it was a lot better than I expected. Not that I had bad expectations, but I think it went really well. And I kind of echo the things that Rena mentioned when we all met together afterwards, and she highlighted a couple of those points.
Okay, I have one more question for you, and then I have 3 more people to interview in a few minutes. So what were your forum takeaways? Unfortunately, I have to have you be brief.
I'll be quick.
I know you have a lot.
I do. I thought there was more time to network than I had thought ahead of time. So I'll just leave it at that. There was a good networking opportunity. Thank you, Stacey.
Thanks so much, Sam. Chris Martinez, are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay. Chris lives on the port of Olympia, and he's a contracting grant administrator, and he attended virtually. So Chris, what were your expectations of forum, and how did your experience compare to your expectations?
Sure. So this was my first big any kind of conference or forum online, and being a first time NIGP person. I've only been involved with NIGP for about a year now. So I didn't know really what to expect. So in terms of meeting my expectations, I would have to say it exceeded them, because I didn't really know what to expect. Even though, as the people who attended talked about the introvert versus extrovert, I am definitely considering myself an introvert. However, I am also a people person, which I know is kind of a walking contradiction. So I'd much rather have been there in person, just because I learned so much more from the sidebar conversations that are even going on during the presentation. So that's one aspect that I miss, and that's something that you can't replicate. So that was hard for me, but that's just dealing with knowing how I learn.
I agree with you on that one. Real quick, what were your forum takeaways?
I've been in procurement for about 10 years now, and I've just now started, like I said, with NIGP over the last year because of a former supervisor of mine who I saw is on here. Josh Klicka turned me on to this. Procurement, once you get outside of your world, outside your little circle, it is a very close-knit group, and everybody has been super friendly and more than happy to share. And sometimes even when I have questions that I think are silly to ask, everyone's like, oh, I remember having that question too. So it's super cool that how friendly everybody is, and that extended to not only within our region, but nationally as well. I had a lot of good conversations with people all over the country in the chat rooms.
Oh, thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate you being willing to do this today. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me go on to Michelle O'Donnell with Community Transit, the Procurement SBDB Specialist, who attended virtually. Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
My first question for you is to tell us about those interesting practical things that you learned and plan to recommend at your agency to use in your position?
Well, I'm brand new to procurement, just over a year. May was my 1-year anniversary. Haven't worked I've worked in a lot of fields that apply, but not this one in particular. So I still don't know what I don't know. So the virtual was interesting for me. I'm sure I picked up a ton of stuff that I will apply down the road as these situations come up, but a lot of it was just new and ungrounded for what my current skill set has been. But the soft skills, I think, were huge takeaways and can be for everyone, no matter what your level. I think remembering that everybody has a different way of communicating and seeing, I thought it was really interesting in some of the personality ones to see how many procurement people fell into the same animal or, whatever category. Kind of speaks to the mindset of the job. And I thought that was very interesting. And it also was interesting to see how many people didn't. So I thought that was a huge takeaway for me.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. Okay, if you could make one recommendation to people considering attending forum in the future, what would it be?
Do it, no matter what. And I'm just kind of repeating what everybody has pretty much said, but I think anytime that you come together with a group of your peers, even if it just refreshes your current knowledge, or if you're brand new and you're just a sponge and you're learning way more than you'll ever remember, you still come away renewed and reinvigorated and like energized about the whole thing. So I think any range of experience or introvert, extrovert, whatever, I think you come away with just a great sense of community from the whole thing.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, now Shauna Gillen from Western Washington University. She's the technical buyer there. And I happen to know that Shauna had a huge experience. I mean, there was so many comments she has about this. So having her only have like a minute or two to say everything, I don't know how you're going to do it, Shauna, but what were your expectations for forum and how did your experience compare to the expectations?
Yeah, so I'll talk fast. I had a lot of expectations of knowing that this is a more a broader group of people. So being in higher ed, while we have those connections, it's really awesome to see what other people are doing and how other people are handling the problems. We haven't had a tech buyer in a lot of years, so I have some giant mountains that I'm currently trying to scale. So I wanted to learn some important things that how other people were handling it. And from the sessions that I picked, it definitely met and exceeded those expectations on just great things to know from people and their experiences.
Thank you. Okay, real quick, what was positive about forum?
So we're a tiny team like most people, but we are also down about 2.5 positions right now, and I am the technical person. So it was really nice to be virtual because there were some things that blew up that I would have had to have stepped away from in order to make it happen. And instead I could keep the session up while I was doing the troubleshooting and getting some stuff done. And also it's fantastic to have the recorded because a lot of the things I wanted to attend were double booked. And so then I could go ahead and go back and rewatch those sessions that I knew were both vital to me learning new things.
Good. And Shauna, it's nice meeting you. I know you're new to the group, so thank you for joining us. Victor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Maya, your closing comments while we talk about or show on the screen the upcoming events.
Apparently you have to unmute. Thank you to everybody who volunteered to come today and really share their experience, to really share with others, I guess, is a big part of this, is the encouraging and the fact that we all want to make sure that what we've experienced, that others have the opportunity to experience. So thank you for volunteering to talk and do all that. I do want to remind you that to put your name in the chat in the raffle if you want to get entered for that raffle. As a reminder for those of you who came on a bit late, we are going to enter you every time you attend a lunch and learn, and we will enter you into a drawing for $1,000 towards scholarship for next year. And here are the upcoming events. We want to make sure you guys highlight a few things. We do have some webinars. We're trying to get some of the NIGP webinars. Those are free. That's coming up on October 4th. So head over to the NIGP.org website to sign up for that. Next Lunch and Learn will be October 5th, and we're going to have a great panel of folks to come talk about some Washington State legislative updates, what kind of goes on behind the scenes on some of these bills. We have a couple classes coming up and communication strategies. So go ahead, and these are 2 half days on October 13th and on November 15th. So go to the WANIGP website to register for those, and then save the date for our upcoming fall conference. It's going to be virtual this year. It is October 19th. So if you want to block out from 8:30 to 2:30 on there and save the date, we will get the registration open for you guys in the next week or so. And then Josh, you want to quickly talk about a couple upcoming things that you have going on at MRSC?
Sure, I can do that really quick. So MRSC is going to be putting on some free public works training all around the state. So those are referenced here. I'm going to put my email in the chat if anyone wants to follow up with me for more detail on that. I'm happy to talk with you directly. My quick pitch on this is some free contact hours around public works training. And the first people I thought of when I knew this was available was all my chapter peers around the state. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. Feel free to follow up with me directly on that.
Thanks, Josh. Anybody else have closing comments? If we do want to say see you in Louisville. We're hoping that everyone can attend. We had 35 or 32 this year in person, and so we'd love to break that record.